Hi, welcome everybody. We have people starting to come in now, so we will in just a minute or two while we give people a chance to come into the room. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started now. I'm sure more people will be joining us as we go, but just keep in mind that this is also being recorded today, so it will be available both on our webinar hub as well as on our YouTube page, and I think probably respectively for the PageDNA team as well. We'll make sure and get this sent out to everybody if you missed it, or if you want to share it with a colleague maybe that was not able to join us today. We'll make sure that that is available to you. So we're very excited about this. We've been working on this collaboration to have a webinar for a little while now. We're very excited to get started and talk about what you're going to see today with this rich collaboration. And this is kind of the best of all worlds, if you will, when it comes to putting on a webinar, because we not only are able to get together as partners between PageDNA and printIQ, but also feature a really great mutual customer of ours in John Beadel and his great team over at APPi, which you'll be hearing more about here in just a few moments. So we'll go ahead and dive in today. Just wanted to give you a high-level overview of what you're going to see, because you're going to be getting a lot of information from a lot of different people, and we're excited to jump in and get started on that. So today, you're going to be primarily hearing from the three of us, along with support from some of our mutual teams. I am Craig Powell, the General Manager for North America at printIQ. Been in the printing industry for over 20 years now. Came up through the production side of things. I've done a little bit of sales. And somewhere along the way, I actually put in printIQ as a customer at a place that I was at, and I loved it so much that a few years down the road, I was able to join the team, and am honored to be able to help grow printIQ in the North American market, and also participate in great events like this one today. So over to you, Steve.
Thanks, Craig. Glad to be here, everyone. PageDNA exists for three reasons. We want you to have more volume, to be able to do more with your current team and hardware, but most of all, to have a really, really good customer experience so that your customers keep coming back and you get more and more jobs. We've been doing that for 28 years. I won't go through the whole story, but I had a part-time job in college and it turned into a career. We started by automating the pain involved in ordering business cards, which is still a pain for a lot of our people we meet. And since then, as you're going to see today, our platform has expanded to become a Swiss Army knife with a lot of different capabilities. All those capabilities are here to do one thing: make you more successful as a production print organization. So thanks, Craig. I'll pass over to John, who really, in a way, should be in the middle between printIQ and PageDNA. John.
And I'm John Beadel from Associated Printing Productions. We are located in Miami Lakes, Florida. We are a 33-year-old printing company, and I'm thrilled that we are at this stage. This was a dream to be able to bring these two organizations together and do the integration and collaborate like this. I'm really excited to share how the difference it made for us by having this collaboration.
Excellent. Thank you, John. All right, so just a quick reminder to everybody, we are going to open it up towards the end of the webinar for questions. So if you have any specific questions, about printIQ or PageDNA, or even for John at APPi there, if you're going to hear from him about his journey, and he's going to share that story with you. But if you have any questions for any of us, feel free to submit them through the question and answer button there inside the webinar, and we will get to those towards the end. So why we're here. I mean, you know why we're here. You signed up to hear about it. We're excited to talk about how very high level, how the integration works between printIQ and PageDNA, but more importantly about how that helps, with a company like what John and the APPi team are doing, to be able to have storefronts in a platform robust like PageDNA, but then be able to bring those orders into a powerful platform like printIQ to be able to track those orders and take it through all of the production steps, and how that integration helps save time, save money, and improve efficiencies, along the way. So I'd like, John, if you would just give us a few opening comments, tell us about APPi, the type of work you do, and more specifically, how you guys are using PageDNA.
So we are, as I said, about a 33-year-old company, and we are heavily involved with the cruise line industry, a lot of different sectors, but our cruise line industry is really what we fulfill almost every cruise ship sailing the world on a 8-cycle basis per year. So that means you're doing about 30-something ships every week. And we used to do everything so manually, but we are a commercial printing company, the typical commercial printing company. We have offset, sheet fed offset. We have digital, we have indigo, signage, etc. But I think in the most part, we're a pretty traditional printing company. We had extreme needs, and we were having to do everything so manually to achieve that goal. And our thoughts when we decided to search out for an MIS is that we needed something to take all the touch points, and you're going to see what Steve's going to show later about the touch points. And when we had an evaluation done, we really realized that this was all those touch points equate to money, time, money, and you realize how much time we were losing. The collaboration between printIQ and PageDNA has been truly a godsend for us because it has just automated our processes, and we go faster. Everything moves easier. It's much nicer program.
Excellent. So, as in regards to customer experience, because I know that's a big importance to you to be able to offer your customers, a streamlined, easy way to interact with your business, to order those products. How's the integration impacted that overall experience for your customers? Are they receiving quicker, more accurate updates on their orders?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Before, somebody would have to send an email manually or something like this. Now everything is, imagine being on a cruise ship in the middle of the world and you place your order. You're kind of lost. And with our new system, they know everything that's happening. They know that their order's been received. It gets an automatic confirmation. They know when the order is being picked, when it's packaged, when it's gone out. Everything's confirmed. This just gives everybody in our supply chain lots of information. Their experience, I would say for sure that it's much nicer now. They even take it to they're even taking it to a different level, to where adding on to our platform now.
And would you say that have they noticed a reduction in the overall turnaround times, like from that print production, from the time they place that order to receiving that product?
Absolutely. That I would say for the ships, we have a very regimented maritime schedule, but for our, let's say, our mainstream clients, I would say our timelines have gone. We've probably cut our timelines by 25% easy. Just through, like with printIQ, with the proofing and things like this, it just made it's interesting to see how clients are really getting engaged with the links from printIQ and things like that. So they're really starting to get to know it well, and it's nice.
Okay. Yeah, so you made several comments already kind of talking about the efficiency and automation of platforms. And can you share any specific tasks that maybe they're now automated, but in the past, they were more of a manual effort, and now you're seeing the gains from them being automated?
Craig, I would say it's everything. Honestly, from start to finish. Think about when you receive a job. You receive an email from a client. Maybe they send you a link. Then I have to put that into our pre-press server. Then I tell them, hey, the job's there. All those things are being limited. Everything is, listen, the client, we send the quote to the client approves it right there. They click on the link. They can upload their files right there in the system. It automatically tells all of us that this has happened. And I think in this new day and age, a lot of clients like that, because whether it's midday or whether it's middle of the night, they can still do this and get it all right into the system right away.
Sure. So, and the integration, pulling in those orders, and then pulling them into a platform like printIQ, what would you say, the the efficiencies that you've gained in your daily operations, internally from a production standpoint? I mean, are you seeing, growth in being able to scale your operations to be more confident about taking on more work or new customers along the way?
Absolutely. So when we had an assessment, I had somebody come in and evaluate the company. They were talking about how many manual entries we do and touch points and stuff like this. And really that stagnated our growth because we were so busy. So all I thought is we had to add more people in production and pre-press and stuff like this. And my advisor told me, he said, you really don't need more people. You need to automate. And that's been my watchword since then, because it really made a difference. It was very true. The automation between the orders coming from PageDNA right into printIQ, or the MIS just in printIQ, everything is just so streamlined that it's greatly freed up our time.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that it's the old mantra about working smarter. You are working harder, but also working smarter so that you can work even harder on the way.
Yeah.
And I think the time savings there, everybody benefits from that. But how much time do you think you're saving by having that unified system where instead of having separate tools where you're having to go multiple places to update something, how much time are you saving being able to manage those print orders from a job management
That's a good
standpoint?
question. I mean, we had a web to print system, but then we would have to take that and put it into the MIS. But right now, I mean, on every order, I could say that, I mean, you're easily saving at least, let's say, an hour just in between that. And you think, how many orders you're processing a day? But the simple process between PageDNA to printIQ, everything is just automated, and it's just made things so streamlined.
Yeah. And what would you say, your experience and your team's experience has been? How easy is it to build those new items inside PageDNA and then tie those into printIQ between the two systems?
So the PageDNA team, their setup, I don't think I've ever been through one that was easier. They hold your hand, they walk you through it. But our entire, now we have, I think it's something like 6,000 different items.
Wow.
And it's a lot. But I think the setup was, I don't know, Steve, you might remember, but I think it was no more than 2 months and we were fully operational.
Wow.
Once the setup in PageDNA was done, then we began to build it, because we take inventory and things like that. We have our inventory modules and stuff like that. All of that had to be then integrated with printIQ. And that's why when we did this, we evaluated lots of MIS and lots of web to print systems. We came down to your two companies intentionally, but it had to work together. Somehow we had to get you all to do it. And I know we begged, borrowed, whatever, and convinced you all that this was a good thing for everybody. And really the marriage of the two has made our lives 1,000 times easier.
Yeah, excellent. So, we've talked a lot about the customer experience and how that's greatly improved for them, those turnaround times, the efficiencies that you've gained. But one thing that a lot of companies struggle with, especially if they've got different platforms, is communication between departments. So you think about sales and the handoff of information to production and then ultimately to customer service. And then, the backwards loop of syncing that information across these places. How's this integration improved the communication, between those departments?
I'll be honest, one of my salesperson told me, we talked about this in our last monthly meeting, and his exact term was, it's night and day. He says, because he can see things now. He can see status. I'll be honest, bringing the two programs together, integrating everything, the word I use about our company is we are a completely different company. We have a collaboration that we've never had. Every morning we have this great production meeting. We all are in there. Everybody's involved, but everybody can see throughout the plant where we are, where was this at. It's just a different level of organization that I don't think I could have even envisioned it. And thank goodness my advisor knew about it, knew that that's where we are. If we want to grow, if we want to get past this like a kind of a roadblock, because we were so manually, he said, this is what needs to happen. And looking back, trust me, it's a daunting task when you walk into it. But looking back, we wouldn't be anywhere close to where we are right now.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, John, this has been awesome. It's been great, hearing about this journey, hearing about the improvements and the efficiencies that you've gained along the way. I'll just give you a minute or two if you have any, final comments about the experience of working with both of our companies before we head into the demo.
Yeah, I will tell people, when you embark on changing your MIS or your web to print, I've done this a few times with different companies, and be honest, sometimes it's just you're lost. And I think sometimes some of the other ones, and I'm talking some of the bigger brands, that they don't have a good system. And what I found with both of your companies was to set back and trust your process. I mentioned it before that sometimes it's like walking up a ladder. You quite can't see the light. You're not sure where your next step is taking you, but trust that both of these organizations have done this many times and that you're going to get there. And then eventually, all of a sudden, you will see it. It all comes together when you start gathering data and stuff, but trust in the process in both organizations. I mean, I love the fact that the PageDNA and printIQ now work together. It's a bilateral communication. They're completely synchronized now, and that makes my life easier. It makes my clients happier. It makes my entire team here really thrilled at it, because everybody feels like you're in the know. You know everything about every job. Everything is easily there.
Thank you, John. That's really kind words, and you're helping us pioneer this. So big thanks for bringing us together. I think we brought together the chocolate and the peanut butter and made a great Reese's peanut butter cup. And in case you can't tell, yes, I'm hungry. So
Absolutely. Cool. So yeah, thank you again, John. That's really great. And we may tap you back in here in a little bit, especially if anybody has any questions for you. But we like to put our money where our mouth is, as it were. And love to show you a demo of an order coming in through PageDNA, flowing into printIQ, and then coming back. So I'll turn it over to you, Steve, and let you take the share and walk us through that.
Great. So PageDNA storefronts come in many shapes and sizes, and we're just going to look here at just a couple examples so you can get an idea of how varied these can look. Some of these are for commercial print sales organizations. Some of these are nonprofits or internal print shops. But as I flip through these stores, you can see they all are different, and there's a reason for that. Customers demand not a cookie cutter solution, but something really customized for them. And that covers a broad spectrum of needs, not just print these days, but fulfillment, apparel, digital assets. So rest assured that you're going to see a snapshot of a moving picture today. You're going to see a very simple demo we've created. But as you all know, if you've done web to print, the complexity, the devil is in the details, and these stores need to really not be a cookie cutter where you just throw a customer's logo on the top, but they need to be customized for your look and feel, your compliance rules, your particular products, and everything that goes with that. So today we're going to jump into a little demonstration we've prepared for you. And as you can see, this is a simulation of a real customer storefront. I'm going to be placing an order for Jane. I'm logged in as myself, but I'm going to order on behalf for Jane. And we're now in PageDNA. We'll come back and look at some of those other applications a little bit later, but let's just get into where PageDNA started, which is the business card. Love them or hate them, they are sticking around. These small format products are high volume and they're high touch. They're often actually a weak spot for many of our commercial printers who hate them until they meet PageDNA and see how it all ties in end to end into printIQ. Here you're seeing a fictitious customer, APPi, made up brand, obviously. And you can see that our typesetting engine is actually creating a 100% accurate, what you see is what you get proof. It's following us around on the page. Typesetting exceptions is one of our strongest capabilities, and many of the Fortune, not only 100, but Fortune 10 trust our platform with their brand. So Google, Amazon, Konica Minolta, HP, Best Buy, Target, these brands have entrusted our typesetting engine to make sure that there's high fidelity and that these jobs all look the same. Pretty standard item, but made seamless for the customer experience. I'm going to take responsibility for my proof and add it to my order. Now, the integration we're going to discuss today with printIQ is bidirectional. Not only is it pushing order data into printIQ, but it's also receiving back status on the job. So when you mark a job completed in printIQ, and you're going to see this in a moment, seamlessly that information is transferred back to PageDNA, and then we let the customer know, hey, your order is ready for pickup or it's shipped. But in addition, we're also synchronizing the inventory for the ever-growing in importance category of finished goods. Here, a coffee cup, but it could be a wearable or another item. Note that we have 993 of these on hand right now, and I'm going to add 5 of these coffee mugs to my order. It probably won't surprise you later, but given what I've said, but the inventory is going to decrement or lower both in PageDNA as well as inside of printIQ. And so there's a lot of little twists in that we'll get into, but let me submit this relatively simple order here, indicate that I'd like it to be delivered by Friday, put in my shipping address, which PageDNA validates, choose a shipping method. And of course, we have dozens of different options here, but I'll just go through with a cost center, putting in a cost center, having it validated, and reviewing my order. For those of you who maybe haven't taken a look at PageDNA in a while, you may notice that things are a lot faster. That's because we moved to AWS this year, and on average are having a 37% faster load for all of our pages. So we're really happy, and our customers are as well. I'm going to send this order off, and at this point, an email is going to the customer letting them know that their order's been placed. PageDNA takes a lot of steps to ensure email deliverability. This wasn't a problem years ago, but now, because we are spoofing or pretending to be you, in other words, sending an email to your customer that appears to come from you, those can get blocked because they are technically a spam, unless you do what we do. We use various technologies to digitally sign the emails that we send so they're not seen as spam, and therefore your customer will receive a confirmation email. And from that confirmation email, they can see the status of their jobs. They can see if they're awaiting approval, in production, or of course, they can see if they've shipped. They can also come in and place reorders for those orders. So at this point, as a customer, I'm happy. I came into a storefront, curated for me, chose my items, had my artwork pre-flighted, and now the order is flowing over to printIQ. So what I'm going to do now is stop sharing my screen, and we're going to pass the baton back over to printIQ so you can see that order I just submitted flowing automatically into printIQ.
All right, and I believe that's my cue. Thank you, Steve.
Sure. Welcome.
So, hey everyone, I'm Matt Hausler from printIQ. I am an integration specialist with the company. You may recognize me if you work with printIQ and have anything to do with integrations, but obviously as you onboard or continue to use PageDNA, we will definitely have a lot of discussion, setup, troubleshooting, all that good stuff. So just to give you a quick peek behind the curtain into everything. printIQ and PageDNA connection bridge is based on a middleware we created called Kapua. As a fun little background fact, Kapua is the Maori word for cloud. So it's just a fun little nod to our New Zealand roots and the fact that we're using a cloud-based solution. So as Steve said, as he placed that order is queuing up in our middleware system. It is being translated by that middleware, and it will eventually create a job in printIQ. So just to, I'm going to lift Steve's example here, because what I'd like to demonstrate here.
I want to make sure you're sharing your screen, sir.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, sorry, let me get to that. And we'll get that screen go. Everything look good?
Yep.
All right. So I did pre-note the job order that was created during that demo. While we wait for Kapua to actually punch that out, I think this is a good opportunity just to show sort of the vastness of printIQ. Obviously, as you navigate through printIQ, you might ask the question, how will I know if something comes from PageDNA? How can I find it easily? How can I ask about it for troubleshooting needs? And that is all pretty easily solved just with our various production boards that I'm showing here. So what I'm doing right now is just doing a quick search, just kind of waiting for Kapua to create that job in our system. But obviously you sort of have a couple of different ways to approach this, where you can go from our orders board just to pull the most recent orders. You could go from our quoting menu just to look at the recent quotes that came in. You get context that the PageDNA order has come mainly by the user that we use to make the connection bridge. So in this case, I have an APPi integration user. Pretty easy flag to say this is a PageDNA order. You also get the PageDNA order number in your job title, so it makes for ease of searchability, so to say. So I will expand this detail page. So this is the order that we just received from that PageDNA demo. As you can see, the artwork as generated has ported over by itself. We've gotten the context of the business card that was ordered, as well as the context of the delivery mug, which I can get to relatively easy just by navigating through the dispatch menu. So you can see there's basically two orders created in printIQ, one for the fulfillment, whether it was just the coffee mug or multiple fulfillment items, and then obviously the order itself, which just accounts for the business cards. So as Steve said, we do share information back to PageDNA. This includes the dispatch record that we generate, and that it also includes anytime we essentially decrement inventory. So for the case of that mug, we were told to pick 5 and ship them out. printIQ will share that happened back with PageDNA. printIQ will also share as pretty much any inventory transaction occurs. So even if I were to receive 1,000 more coffee mugs today and mark that in the system, we would share that inventory transaction back to PageDNA, giving you that live feedback. So let's pretend we're a shop floor user. We have completed production on our business cards, and we have indeed made our mugs distribution ready. As you can see, there's some neat little automations that happen. This notes that the mug itself has been picked. And whether I want to dispatch this from the sales order menu or the production menu is all the same. The trick here really is just that both of these items are associated to one delivery. So I have the ease of creating that consignment from one system. The only thing I do want to just clarify, so the FedEx option was chosen from the PageDNA side that has connected to a FedEx instance in printIQ, but I'm not actually calling on a FedEx rating. This is just a little rate that we created in the system. So when I go to dispatch this, I'm just going to mock that we created a FedEx consignment. I have a pre-existing shipment here, so we'll just pretend our FedEx integration generated this label. I already made it, so we'll make it unique. So now we have our FedEx label. This dispatch will queue a webhook that sends back to Kapua that is going to update the PageDNA storefront order. And I think at this point, Steve, it's probably good to throw it back to you. I'll just mention, give the Kapua queue its couple of minutes to receive the payload, translate, but you should get that fairly real-time data. I like to joke that, as we're on a webinar, all kind of staring at it, that 2 minutes is going to seem a little longer. To your shop floor users, obviously, that 2 minutes is instantaneous. They're indifferent. They know that as they consign, the PageDNA storefront order will get updated in a reasonable time. So with that, I will kick off my share, and I'll do a little flyby as soon as that order should be updated in PageDNA.
Awesome. Thank you, Matthew. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, the order has been produced, it's been marked shipped, and now we want to make sure the customer knows. Why? Well, that's another one of the little deaths by paper cuts we all experience in production print. Every one of these touches is removing efficiency for you and your team, But as we're going to discuss a little bit more, it's also affecting your customer and how they perceive you. Whether you're an internal print shop or you're a commercial print shop or a brand owner, your customers have a choice. And we want to make it easy for them to give their jobs and money to you and make it easier for you to do more jobs for them. Related to that, one of the features I want to show here is reordering. About 10% of the orders we see on a given day are reorders. And I'm going to just show you right now what it's like for Jane to come in here. This was the order from before that she placed. And she can click on a previous order and it'll bring her back into a new ordering session, and it'll remember what she ordered, her shipping address, her billing codes and other information. But it'll also update the template if it's changed. It'll reprice a job if, say, the paper prices have changed. And if an item like a fulfillment product has been replaced by a new version, our system can be set up to automatically replace it with the new version. So instead of seeing a message saying item not found, they'll actually go from, say, the 2024 calendar they were trying to reorder in this example, automatically to the 2025 version.
Wow.
This is another way we want to make sure that users have a very easy way to give their jobs and money to you, because reorders are pretty common. Back to Jane. Jane has received an email, our customer, and she can actually track her email, place reorders, or start a new order from that, or she can come in here and see the status of all of her jobs. However, I also am an admin on the site. I can order on behalf, and I actually ordered for her and other people. So as an admin, I can actually go in and track all of my orders I've placed, whether for myself or for Jane. And as you can see here, the order that was placed for Jane is now trackable. Going back to Jane, I'll wear her hat. Now I'm Jane. When I click, I only see my orders, whether I placed them or they were placed on my behalf. And of course, as you'd expect, these are integrated for door-to-door tracking so people can understand where the heck their order is without picking up a phone or sending an email. So as soon as you're done with a job, again, admittedly with a couple seconds delay here, but your customer knows their job is on the way. That stops the "where's my order" call and email in its tracks and keeps you from having to answer questions that could be answered through automation. So we're going to step up to about 30,000 feet now, but I do want to mention one other thing. Our system is actually integrating with the finished goods of the inventory on hand within printIQ. Orders are coming in through multiple ways, right? They're coming in through the storefront, but you also may have people who are placing orders and you're placing them by hand, manually entering them into printIQ. We need to make sure that the on-hand inventory here reflects the reality of the shop floor. So whether it's a PageDNA order coming in or a printIQ order, we're keeping that inventory in lockstep. There's a lot of additional sophistication on that topic alone, but I just want to make one more comment, and John, maybe you can comment on this as well. We believe that customers should be able to pick the chocolate, the peanut butter they want, again, and make their own Reese's peanut butter cup. But you want to have one vendor or a team, printIQ and PageDNA, that actually operate as a single customer. You see our software tying together here, but John, just to kind of go back a minute, maybe you can talk about how it's been for you, because a lot of these emails, it's printIQ, PageDNA, and you, and we're working as a single team. And kind of reopening the question and answer here, but John, would you agree with that statement?
100%. Steve, my customer doesn't see you. My customer doesn't see printIQ. They see APPi, and when they see a system, they think I'm the grand wizard back here pulling the string or something. It's really it is that free flow of information, but both ways. So the same thing with like the inventory and things like that. It makes a huge difference to the client. The communication, I always talk about your touch points. The amount of touch points is time. It's that you're losing just to answer the question, hey, did this ship out? Where is this? Can you send me the tracking number? Little things like that. When you just start to add all those things up, they're huge. But the clients love it. I know you're going to have your slide in a little bit that I said is perfect, because it is as truth as you can get, because those are the things that really, when you sit down, and as an owner, that's what you do, is you sit down and you look at this and you evaluate, how much time are we losing? And you realize that amounts to a lot of time, but a lot of money.
Thanks, John. Let's look at this slide. Now, intended as a joke, of course. This is obviously a little humorous. Describing your workflow as a bunch of spaghetti thrown against a wall is a little bit of a stretch. But like all jokes, there's some truth in the joke. And the truth is, this actually hurts. It hurts your ability to do more with your current hardware and team. It affects your morale of your employees, who might be double or triple entering stuff into MIS and billing systems, creating not only, a mind-numbing task, but introducing the possibility of transcription errors and more. So this can feel and can be a death by paper cuts. We are in one of the most competitive industries in the world. It's been around since Gutenberg. And I often hear people say, not a lot has changed since Gutenberg. I disagree. We are living in the era of the digital screen, and you need to meet your customers where they are. Where they are is using these for everything in their life. Trillions are ordered online every year, and that number's not going to go down. Wayne Gretzky said, skate to where the puck is going. Clearly, the puck is going toward making it easier, not just for you. But before we go to the next slide, the overall goal for you and your print organization is we want to integrate seamlessly end to end, as you're seeing here a little bit anyway, a taste, to remove touches for you. And so you can do more. But there's an equally or actually more important person not in today's meeting today. We're going to talk about that on this next slide, your customer. Your customer, let's say you're a commercial print organization. We'll talk about John. John's customers have a choice. And even if John coaches the T-ball team of the buyer, that stuff, matters, but increasingly not as much. Buyers are getting younger. They want to work online. So let's look a little bit at what it's like in the day in the life of a request. This back and forth process that Craig's going to walk us through is painful. It's not just painful for you, it's painful for your customer, and it's unnecessary. These back and forth steps, and there are dozens, like John did with his consultant, look at your workflow and count how many steps are there and actually put a financial value on them. And your thermometer, like the one on the right, might rise as well as you realize how much redundancy, extra order input, extra touches are involved in your print shop. This back and forth actually leads customers to leave to go to another vendor. Yes. In a moment, I'm going to share with you a screenshot of a study MIT University did about sales. And what they found was, they researched this question: how much time do you have to respond to a quote before you've lost the sale because you waited too long? And this applies both for our internal print shop and our commercial print friends, because internal print shops, your customers can go rogue. They could go to Kinko's if they don't get a response. The answer is a staggeringly short 28 minutes that you have to qualify a request for a quote, or you're going to lose it. This might answer the question, where did those quotes go that we provided but we never heard back on? The answer very well might be that one of your competitors gave a quote that might have been higher, but it was given to your customer faster, allowing them to get one of their 10 things they need to do off their list today. So time is money for you. It's also money for your customer. Let me give you two scenarios. One, you have the dream, the lights out automation. It's the holy grail. Orders come in. Maybe you have to load paper, but everything's automated. But you have a terrible customer experience. Now we'll go to another ridiculous extreme. You have the best online ordering system. Your customers are happy, and you've got so many orders to deal with, you don't know what to do with them. Okay, obviously those are both extremes, and the reality is somewhere in the middle. But my point is, if you don't have happy customers, you don't have a print business. You don't have a print department. And we've seen that with, for example, internal print shops who fail to get in front of this and end up having their print shop replaced by a facilities management play, or commercial printers come in and take over and their shop is gone. So even those who have what you might think of as a captive audience should be thinking really, really carefully about, what is it like for our customers to order from us? How can we make it easier for them and remove touches for them? So really important to think about. Now, you've got options. There are at least 30 web to print platforms available on Gartner's website for reviews. We just want to mention a couple things about why we hear consistently that we're a great platform. First, PageDNA is affordable. Reach out to us and get a budgetary quote, but typically people are kind of falling out of their chair when they compare what our price point is to some of our well-named and established competitors. I'm going to just show you in a moment here a Swiss Army knife of capabilities. We've got all these different things our software can do: kitting, variable data, digital asset management, inventory, typesetting, quoting, wide format, litho, digital, flexo jobs. Well, that's great. Everyone talks about how cool their products are. And of course, every sales rep or owner is like, our stuff is the greatest. The second bullet here, though, is the most important one and has become our #1 differentiator. John alluded to this earlier. we know you already have an investment in technology and you've got a lot going on. You're probably running a 40, 50-hour work week at minimum. You know, your 40-hour work week is probably 50. So where are you going to find time to, in a really competent way, build and launch a new storefront, perhaps alongside your homegrown or my competitor's product? What we do is we grab the reins and we do 95% of the work to launch your initial project. The 5% is because we're not psychic. We need artwork. We need to talk to IT. We need to get secure FTP set up. We need to tie things together. But what we're doing is we're ensuring that we lay a cornerstone, a project that will actually give you a fast ROI. We'll give you some numbers in a second. And during that process, so we're driving the bus and you're in the shotgun seat, but we're actually putting the wheel in your hands, training your team to become self-reliant, to add new products and update material costs and change inventory and become self-reliant. In the past, and this, for those of you who haven't looked at PageDNA in 10 years, this is what it was like when you were an early customer. And thank you to our customers of, you know, the past 27 years, because in the first 15 years, it was like this. We said, all right, here's the training manual. There's the airplane, there's the runway. Let us know if you need help. That is not a recipe for success. Every web to print system is different. It's not like riding a bike. These are expert systems. And if you use them, you'll know it. If you don't use them, you're going to forget how it works. So this process has allowed us to have a 69-day average kickoff to launch for customers that can only meet with us for half an hour a week. For customers who are able to meet with us twice a week during this implementation process and can also do work between the meetings, you know, homework, for lack of a better word, you can cut that time in half to 35 days. From what we hear consistently, to have a fully live, operational, integrated storefront with your brand, with your items that's actually delivering an ROI in 30 to 60, 70 days is an industry-leading number, and we're really proud of that. So John, you said it earlier, you were talking about our implementation. Thank you for, I mean, I hadn't heard your answer to that question before. This is truly extemporaneous here, but John, thank you for that it happened for you. I'm glad it happened for you.
Yeah.
We do it over and over, but we're also learning. So John, we had, you know, we always ask, hey, what can we do better? And John had a couple feedback, kind of Six Sigma, lean, you know, kind of what didn't make sense. Well, that's going to make our next implementation better. So we're building on the shoulders of the shoulders. The last part of this, and Craig, I'll just share my screen one more time here before we pass over to printIQ, if you don't mind me, is our people. And there's websites out there like this one from Gartner called Capterra. These are people who have taken this journey with us. These people were not bribed with Amazon gift cards or, you know, please don't give us a 4-star review. Most of these people come from another platform, either homegrown or some of our, of course, you know, and, you know, we recognize that there's a lot of people out in this space and they do some great stuff. But you'll hear these people in these reviews not just talk about our product, but very much talk about our team. Our team come from the printing industry. We are here, you know, answering the phone. We have a 1.2-hour response time. And our goal is to have you on this page writing a somewhat anonymous review and have you say something like Kayvon here, who says he wouldn't be in business without our software. So, you know, the way we get there is a lot of features that all need to come together. We need you to both understand what we can do today, as well as what's over the horizon or around the corner. Because in many cases, when we have a meeting with the customer, they find out about a feature and they either remember an opportunity they lost or know about an opportunity they currently have that they might be able to go in there. When you bring this all together, you have a very sticky solution. Your customers love it. You love it. More orders, higher profit margins, or excess budget if you're in the internal print shop world. But best of all, happy customers, which lead you to being happy. So we hope that we get a chance to meet with you and get you on this list as well. So thank you for giving me a couple minutes here to talk about that in PageDNA's USB.
Very good. Thank you, Steve. All right, so I am going to talk for just a few more minutes to mirror, you know, what Steve was talking through on the PageDNA side, just for anyone who may not be familiar with printIQ and what we do. But before I get started on that, we do have a couple of interactive polls that we're going to launch, and the first of which is coming now. So we'd love to have your feedback for these poll questions, just to kind of gauge where you are in your journey. You know, we've got a mixture, I think, of people. Some may be already in a platform, some may be haven't ever, you know, embarked on that journey yet and are looking, or maybe you want to switch from another one. You know, just trying to gauge where that's at. We'd love to hear from you with those poll questions there. All right, so really quick while you do that, just to talk quickly about printIQ, we offer a platform at printIQ to really streamline your print process. We believe in being that centralized, key component of your workflow where work is flowing in and out of our platform, and it allows you to keep track of where a job is at, in your production, to get information about the production of that job, to capture details and data at a shop floor collection level about how the job is performing when it comes to people logging time, people logging usage, from an inventory standpoint, whether that be raw goods inventory, with the components needed to make those jobs as you do, or a finished goods inventory like what we were talking about earlier, with some of those products. We offer an end-to-end workflow, so you can get a seamless integrated system, and it covers everything from beginning to end of that process: quoting, production, inventory management, all the way through to the fulfillment, shipping and invoicing inside the platform. So one place to manage all of that information. We are cloud-based, so you can access your printIQ instance from a browser. So it's not dependent on installing software on our computer. So no Mac versus PC discussions going on there. It's all accessed through a browser 24/7, anywhere in the world. Potentially you could access your printIQ instance and get information about your job. We also have built-in flexibility along the way, where we've got solutions and workflows drawing from our experience of doing this now for 20 years as well, where we've worked with hundreds of different print companies in all different subsets and disciplines of printing. Our team is experienced to be able to both go down a specific path if that's all you do in the print world, or more importantly, we're one of the only ones out there who can actually seamlessly blend all those types of printing inside the same platform. So if you've got different locations or different types of print that you want to offer all inside the same system, we do have the power to do that inside there. And then lastly, real-time updates. Keep tabs on where your job's at, like we were showing on our side of it from those PageDNA orders flowing in. You can see where it's at in the production workflow, and then get that real-time data along the way inside there. Last comment I'd make on that as well is, we also are one of the most open and robust from an API standpoint. That empowers us to be able to have integrations like we do with PageDNA. And we have integrations with many others, not just web to print, but also, other platforms for pre-press automation, and all kinds of different accounting packages and many, many more. And that's only made possible by our API framework and access to that. So as a recap really quick, we've showed it to you. You've heard from John about his experience there, but the printIQ interface and integration with PageDNA, it allows you to streamline and simplify that order process by bringing in those orders, but then also communicating back those key things like job status, milestones, within printIQ, so that when you mark them as such in printIQ, it backflows into that PageDNA storefront, which reduces the need to have that additional step, which saves you time, which saves you money, as you heard from John. It also gives you that powerful ability for that real-time inventory tracking, to make sure that you're syncing between those systems as things are ordered, so there's not a disconnect on where you are from an inventory standpoint. And then, all along, as we heard at the beginning, automated order entry, that's the name of the game. Getting those orders in a seamless way, in a quick way, that also allows for those efficiency gains along the way to improve that overall production about how that job flows through, about how you're tracking it, getting data about that job so that you can continually improve your processes, both internally, and, streamline things in your business to ultimately become more profitable, because that's the goal, for your business, is to use these tools to make smarter decisions. And printIQ is there to help you do that along the way. All right, so just a quick reminder, we're going to have another poll question that's going to pop up now for you. This will be the last poll question. And if you haven't yet, also please put into the chat for any questions that you want to have answered. We've already had a couple submitted. And with the time we have left, we are going to transition into answering some of those questions. So feel free to submit those if you have not done so yet.
Craig, if you don't mind, I could start taking a crack at a couple of those questions that came in.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to leave this slide up through to the end. We've got lots of people behind us, Steve and I do, on our respective sides, but we're happy to start the conversation with you. If you want to reach out to us, if you're in the market for an MIS platform or a web to print platform, if are a customer of one of us but not the other, or vice versa, either way, we'd love to hear about it. If you are a mutual customer already, you want to talk about ways to maybe expand on how that's working. If you heard John say things about his experience that you'd like to mirror in your experience, feel free to reach out. We're happy to have that discussion with you. And yeah, Steve, if you want to dive into some of those questions, we'll go ahead and get started.
I'm not sure if you hiding your screen might make it easier for people so they don't have to switch between tabs, because I was going to visually just show quickly an answer to a question I got, but your call, sir.
Okay.
The question we received, everyone, is, are there messages if there's issues between the two systems? And that's a really great topic, and I'm actually ashamed I didn't talk about this earlier. Let's say that for some unforeseen reason, there's a disconnection between PageDNA and printIQ, but orders are still coming in. What happens? Well, first of all, this is something we've been working on for about 15, 20 years. We want to make sure that every train leaves the PageDNA station and gets to the printIQ station. So if we're unable to connect, first of all, there's alerts that appear not only for us, but also for you. And we have a new feature coming out. I'm just going to give a little hint, but there's features coming out that surface more of this to you about our integrations. But these heads-up displays are saying, hey, we're having a problem connecting. Now, it'll try again in a couple hours, and then it'll try again in a couple hours. At that point, PageDNA has a human engineer pick up a phone and call the red phone, the technical contact at our customer. Invariably, IT answers and goes, oh, whoops, I didn't know changing that password was a big deal, or, Well, now they turn it back on, what happens? The trains, again, the orders, but we'll use metaphor, back at PageDNA, resume sending, ensuring that there's no duplicated orders, nor any double sends. That resilience is not something that came up overnight. Before this, someone in both sides would have to go look and see where the orders stop, see if an order was partially transferred, and then make that switch. We actually have an engineer who lives in Japan, and while we're sleeping, he's monitoring what we call payloads, which is our name for these order bundles. And so often, by the time you get in the morning, our Asian team has actually already spotted one of those issues. Long story short, there are tools built in and systems at PageDNA to ensure that when that happens, you hear about it and the orders are fixed and healed.
Yeah, and if I could add to that a little bit as well, you heard Matt earlier talk about our middleware solution that's cloud-based called Kapua, where we're pulling that in. That actually, we built that on the framework of a queuing system, so that allows for us to give you access so that you can see those integrations as they pull through, as those orders flow through. If any of those fail, they will be marked accordingly with some detail there for you. You have the ability to retry those along the way as well. So you've got that ability to see that kind of behind the scenes and it not get lost, in the black hole between the two on our side of things.
That was awesome. Thank you, Craig. I'll go to the next question. Someone was asking about wide format, obviously a very fast growing area, like packaging. We like to see where this puck is going. Now, PageDNA is not, we want to make sure your customers can do everything possible online, including getting an estimate, uploading files, and having those files pre-flighted. So as you can see, there's a gray area between traditional MIS and web to print. And the answer for why is, well, customers demand getting a quote as fast as possible. As I mentioned briefly earlier, studies have been done on how long you have to respond to a quote, and the answer is staggeringly short. This might again answer the question, what happened to all those quotes we gave by hand within 1 hour? Proud, yeah, you should be proud, that's hard. Well, in our system, people can actually come in and we're doing wide format pricing models by linear foot or square foot. This is, again, a big topic to just touch at the end of a meeting, and we should probably get together, individually. But our software is actually guiding people through creating a quote while making sure that they don't order something that's impossible to produce because it's wider than your plotter, longer than the roll, or perhaps they need to choose a particular finishing option. For example, it's pretty common that before somebody chooses framing, they need to mount something to foam core, and then, but only then, our system will expose other options for them. In the next step, our software builds a canvas for them, pre-flights files, ensures that the file comes to you in that exact dimension with resolution and so forth. So that's just one of many types of products our software can actually do live quoting. And again, we're not trying to be an estimation system. We're trying to allow customers the ability to get a quote, upload a file, have it pre-flighted, and have you get a job that's basically a present because it's already ready to go. It's got a bow on top of it. It's quoted, pre-flighted, customer's already tracking it. You got the file, it's in printIQ, time to get to work and make that job happen. So we'll talk more about that. Any of you want to break out later? We've got a really specific question from Zach. Zach, I think that's a really good one for us to break out on because it gets into some of the things we've pioneered with you and your company working over the past 20 years that we want to bring into the printIQ and PageDNA world regarding inventory and shipping sync. I think that's pretty deep in the weeds and we might lose a lot of people, but just everyone understand that there's a lot of subtleties when there's like inventory and there's approvals and you need to earmark products to make sure that there isn't what's called a race condition where multiple people are trying to order the same product and there's none left. The last question that I have here for today is someone was asking about CXML integrated storefronts. Thanks, Nicholas, for that question. Little feather in the PageDNA cap. We did the world's first ever publicly demonstrated CXML punch-out integration in 1999 with APPi for HP. The storefront still exists today, and that integration is still live 25 years later, showing how long some of these ERP integrations can stick around. Just for those who are less aware, external systems, and it can be Oracle, SAP, APPi, Workday, can punch into PageDNA, configure an item, and then punch back, and then we wait for that parent system to release the order to us. Nicholas, regarding limitations of that or other capabilities, again, I think that might be a good specific meeting we can have either with our success team. And for any of you who want more information, you've got my email. We'll get that back on the screen here, Craig. But there's also a yellow button to request more information, and you'll hear back from us within half an hour at most if you reach out. So I hope I covered the questions that were in the list there.
Yeah, so I think we've gotten through all those that have been submitted, but if you think of something later, obviously we're happy to answer those questions on a rewatch, or if you share this recording with other members of your team, and if they have questions, we are happy to have those discussions, happy to give you additional demos or dive in deeper on the use case of some of that stuff. So that we can talk specifically how we might approach that, from a mutual standpoint along the way. All right, so doesn't look like we have any more questions, so we'll start to wrap up. I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and it's been really great to have this discussion between printIQ and PageDNA. John, we appreciate you being here, sharing and comments about your experience. It's great to hear, having a happy customer. That's the goal always. So it's good to hear about that experience along the way. So we appreciate you.
Sure.
Absolutely. Thanks, all right. So again, we'll get this recording out after it posts. You'll be able to watch that, and would love to have a discussion with you, and happy to continue that in another format. So thanks everyone for joining us today, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yes.